Next on BBC1, the con is on in Hustle. BBC2 looks back at the last days of Pompeii. On BBC3, find out where the UK's biological clock ticks loudest. And on BBC4, the life story of a soul star.
Strictly Dance Fever, Saturday at 7 on BBC1.
Who really knows what goes on behind closed doors?
15 years, living with the same man, and I seized the chance to have a bit of fun. It's fine. Fine, punish me for it.
New drama from Jimmy McGovern.
But don't do it by taking my child.
The Street, coming soon on BBC1.
Business guru Sir Alan Sugar joins Jonathan Ross tonight at 10:35. And it's business now on BBC1 as the Hustle team use some Asian persuasion in a Bollywood bonanza.
So, Mr. Bruce, I assume you are waiting to know if I will invest.
Well, I'd like to know if I'm going to finish this film, yes.
I have looked into film finance, and I believe the correct terminology is first recoupment plus 10% of the adjusted gross.
Well, you drive a hard bargain.
I'm not here to bargain with you, Mr. Bruce. These are my conditions.
So, you'll invest?
I will not be rushed. I will enjoy my lunch, listen to you all sucking up to me some more, and give you my decision in the morning. Very enjoyable meal. You'll have my final answer by the morning.
I've never wanted to take someone's money quite as badly as this.
Objectionable man.
Smile sweetly twice.
You ain't taking a piss about me gardening now, are you?
Danny!
No?
Danny!
No! You had your chance!
This is very silly, Danny!
Spend Friday night with Jonathan Ross after the news here on BBC1. More on that in a moment. And music fans, don't forget to join Zane Lowe for the best in eclectic music, bringing together the hottest bands and the best unsigned talent to television. Gorilla Gig Live over on BBC3 at 11.
Join me for my chat show tonight where my guests are from The Apprentice, the master himself, Sir Alan Sugar, the lovely star of Green Wing, Tamsin Gregg, and the cheekiest chappies on telly, Ant and Dec. Plus we have music from the world's greatest animated band, Gorillaz. Let's Friday night with Jonathan Ross after the news.
Strictly Dance Fever, Saturday at 7 on BBC1.
So, and that's played, Dave. Yeah, wow.
This is BBC1 in the South. Now the 10 o'clock news with Huw Edwards and Alan Sinclair.
13 Britons are among 57 who drowned when a pleasure boat capsized in Bahrain. They'd been attending a corporate party for construction workers and dozens were saved. But the owners claim that the captain had been forced to sail with too many passengers. We'll have the latest from Bahrain as the investigators start their work. Also tonight, David Cameron named some, but not all, of his party's biggest lenders. The military policemen murdered in Iraq, an inquest says they should have been better equipped. And the race to make a bird flu vaccine. We'll have a special report.
In the south, reaching for the sky, can a new British landmark rise from the ashes of the West Pier in Brighton? And the search for the source of pollution putting wild birds at risk.
Good evening. 13 Britons were among those who drowned when a pleasure boat capsized off the coast of Bahrain. Divers have spent the day searching the wreck, and tonight officials confirmed that at least 57 people lost their lives. Well, the owners claim that the captain had been forced to sail with too many passengers. The vessel had been hired for a corporate party and it sank just a mile offshore near the capital, Manama. Well, let's join our correspondent Ian Pannell. Ian, could you give us the latest from Bahrain?
The word that best describes, I think, the response here in the expat community, in particular the British community, is shock. Many people here, very tightly knit community, know each other, and although the names of those people who died have yet to be released, the big fear for many people is that, of course, they will know the names of some of the people who died. This harbour behind me was where the boat was sailing just 24 hours ago. Just half a mile up the road is where the boat capsized. It took just a matter of minutes, and the survivors of people who were rescued said they didn't know what caused it. Well, it's been a gruelling, long day for many people involved, and some of these pictures may be disturbing.
The search went on throughout the day, scouring the sea for survivors. But this was a story whose conclusion had already been written. A tragic ending to what began as a pleasure trip around Bahrain. A boat that capsized and passengers trapped below deck and bodies pulled from the wreckage. There had been 25 British people on board. At least half of them died. The Al Dana capsized late last night with 137 people on board. Most were partygoers celebrating the end of a construction project. Their boat, a traditional wooden dhow, sailing on calm seas. But it took just minutes to list and turn over, trapping passengers below. The search and rescue mission managed to save many people, but the desperate attempts to revive others seemed too late.
Please, we need to take him first.
Please, she says, you need to take him. The survivors were brought to safety, huddled and wet with cuts and bruises, shocked by what had just happened.
We heard as well that it was over capacity and overcrowded, and it subsided. And it seems that it took less than probably 10 seconds for it to completely disappear.
There are hundreds of boats like this in Bahrain. They're used for parties and tourist trips. Many witnesses said the Al Dana was overcrowded when it capsized. But the company that organised the party said they couldn't confirm whether or not this was true.
We know that there were less than 120, excluding the crew. I think the crew were probably about 20. So I don't know whether that's overcrowding or not.
A temporary morgue was erected at the quayside to identify the dead. An investigation's now underway into why the boat capsized quite so quickly.
Ian, lots of allegations going around the place today. What will the investigators be focusing on first of all, you think?
Well, I think the main question really for the investigators, based on the evidence that we've heard so far, was that crucial question of whether or not there was overcrowding. We know that this vessel was registered to carry 100 people, and we know that there were more than 130 on board. The captain of the vessel was one of those people who was rescued. He has been held for questioning. We visited the hospital tonight where he's been held, and we were told that we couldn't speak to him. But the local prosecutor has been talking to one of the news agencies here and has said that he wasn't qualified to sail the vessel, and those will be the many issues that the investigators will now have to tackle, and we're told that it will be swift and it will be decisive. Huw.
Ian in Bahrain, thank you very much. The Conservatives say they now regret borrowing money from foreigners. Today, the party revealed the names of people who've lent almost £16 million in recent years, but that list does not include big loans from foreign nationals, which have since been repaid. The Tories have been under pressure to act since Labour published a similar list 10 days ago, as Robert Peston reports.
The men and women who bankrolled the Tory party have come out of the shadows, or at least some of them have. The Tory party has, with reluctance, followed Labour's lead and divulged the identities of some of the wealthy individuals who lent it £24 million. But there are a few lenders who were owed £5 million who have insisted on remaining in the shadows. The Conservative leader, David Cameron, has spent a fraught fortnight trying to persuade Tory funders to show themselves.
It's the right way forward, and I've done it in my own time, in my own way, that I believe is fair to those people who lent money to the party in the past, but who didn't want to make their names public.
The fear of publicity didn't bother this Midlands car importer, Bob Edmiston, who lent the Tories £2 million. In an act of generosity, he's now converted that into a donation. And, as it happens, David Cameron would like Edmiston to join the Tory benches in the House of Lords, even though the Lords Appointments Commission originally objected to his becoming a peer. And here's another generous Tory supporter, a Swedish sportswear mogul, Johan Eliash, who lent an impressive £2.6 million just today. It was needed to help repay lenders who refused to have their identities made public. The Tory chairman, Francis Maude, conceded that some of those anonymous funders come from overseas. And he insisted there is nothing wrong with that.
Well, there's nothing to stop us. There's absolutely no reason why we shouldn't. If people want to make a loan from an overseas source, that's perfectly proper.
This isn't just a Tory embarrassment. The Science Minister, Lord Sainsbury, apologised for a misleading statement. He hadn't, as he had claimed, told his senior civil servant about his £2 million Labour loan. Labour and the Conservatives both hope that the outing of their mystery benefactors will allow a return to politics as usual. But with the police and the Electoral Commission both conducting investigations, there's fat chance of that. These secret loans have turned out to be very expensive indeed. Robert Peston, BBC News.
The families of 6 military police officers who were killed by a mob in Iraq are demanding a criminal investigation into their deaths. An inquest in Oxford returned a verdict of unlawful killing, but the coroner didn't apportion any blame.